Monday morning. Their black BMW was gone, repossessed. Tuesday. The principal at Austin Prep called their tuition check bounced. By Friday, a foreclosure notice was nailed right to their front door. 3 hits in 1 week, and all of it started with a single word. Last Saturday, we were at dinner. Family gathered around the table I helped them buy. Candles flickered. My granddaughter Ellie giggled at her brother's silly joke. Warmth, togetherness. And then Tyler, my son-in-law, raised his wine glass. He looked right at me and said, "So, Richard, how does it feel to be a loser?" He smiled like he just made the funniest joke in Texas. Everyone else laughed too, except me. I set my fork down. I looked him straight in the eyes, and I smiled. Not because it was funny, but because I knew that dinner would be the last thing he'd eat with my help. What Tyler didn't know was that for 15 years I had been quietly covering their mortgage, their cars, their kids' private school, their medical bills, vacations, every single thing that made their successful life possible. Almost $1 million gone from my pocket into theirs without ever asking for a thank you. But that night he called me a loser. So I went home, opened my files, and started cutting, one by one. And by the time he realized what I'd done, it was already too late. Georgetown, Texas, just outside Austin. A quiet town, slower days, longer shadows. That's where I live. In a 1-story brick house with creaking floorboards and a mailbox I built myself. My name is Richard Bennett, 66 years old, retired civil engineer, widower for over 15 years. I used to design bridges, big ones, over rivers and highways, structures that last. Funny thing is, no one ever sees the foundation. They only see what's above, what's visible. That's me. I've always been the foundation. Quiet, reliable, strong enough to carry the weight even when no one notices. After Martha passed away, I stopped building bridges, and I started building stability for someone else, my daughter Ashley. She was all I had left, and after losing her mother, she was shattered. A new husband, a mortgage they couldn't afford, 2 babies on the way. I stepped in. No questions, no conditions. I thought it would be temporary. 6 months, maybe a year, just until they got back on their feet. That was 15 years ago. In that time, I became a second paycheck they never saw. A silent safety net they stopped asking for because they assumed it would always be there. But they forgot one thing. Even the strongest foundation cracks. Martha was everything I wasn't. Warm, lively. The kind of woman who could make strangers feel like old friends within 5 minutes. She made this house feel like a home. She painted the kitchen yellow because she said it makes the morning less grumpy. And she planted roses along the front porch so the mailman always had something nice to smell. We were married 38 years. I never thought I'd outlive her. But cancer doesn't care what you plan. It came fast, took faster. 4 months from diagnosis to goodbye. She died in our bedroom holding my hand. Our daughter Ashley asleep on the couch down the hall with 1-month-old baby Josh on her chest. I remember Martha's last words to me. Whispered between shallow breaths, her eyes already far away. "Don't let Ashley fall." That was it. Not a speech, not a plea. Just a mother's last wish. A father's eternal burden. And I said yes, without even thinking, because how could I not? So, when Ashley started struggling, I didn't wait for her to ask. I stepped in. Mortgage late, I covered it. Car broke down, I fixed it. Baby formula too expensive, I bought in bulk. I wasn't trying to be a hero, I was just honoring a promise to the woman I loved, to the only family I had left. But promises made in grief don't always survive gratitude lost. And the day Ashley forgot what that promise cost me is the day things began to shift. Ashley was always a gentle soul, the kind of child who cried when her goldfish died. She'd write me notes on napkins. "Thanks for fixing my bike, Daddy. You're my hero." She used to be sunshine in sneakers. But life has a way of dimming even the brightest hearts. After Martha passed, Ashley changed. Not overnight, but slowly, like rust spreading on a once strong chain. She married Tyler 6 months later. Quick, sudden. She said he made her feel safe. I wanted to believe that. I really did. Tyler was charming at first. Handshakes firm, words polished. The kind of guy who always had a plan, but never stayed long enough to finish it. He worked in sales. Switched jobs every year, big dreams, bigger stories. But somehow always broke. I remember once he told me, "Sir, I don't ask for help, I ask for belief." Sounded noble, until you realized belief was code for money. Then came Ellie and Josh, my grandkids, my whole world in 2 tiny humans. Ellie, 8 years old, curious, kind. She paints little animals and gives them names like Professor Cat. Josh, 11, loves baseball, can't throw straight to save his life, but always tries. They're good kids, innocent, untouched by the grown-up world of pride and pressure. I never wanted them to feel the void their mother and father refused to acknowledge. So I filled it, with money, with time, with quiet love. But somewhere along the way, the love stayed quiet and the gratitude disappeared. At first, it was just the mortgage. $3,200 a month, due on the 5th. I set up automatic payments for my account just until Tyler closed his next deal. Then came the car, a black BMW, lease payment $745. Insurance $180. They said it was for business image, but I never saw any business. Next, Ellie's preschool. $1 $400 a month, plus supplies, plus uniforms. Then it was Josh's baseball camp. $600 a season. Then Tyler's career coaching. $2,000. It added up, quietly, steadily, month after month, year after year. I kept a folder in my study. Blue for mortgage, red for education, green for extras. Each one thick with receipt statements and wire confirmations. It wasn't charity, it wasn't control. It was love measured in decimal points. By year 5, I'd passed $300,000. By year 10, nearly $700,000. And after 15 years, $976,200. That's not a typo, that's my life savings. Transferred without interest, without complaint into theirs. And they never once asked where the money came from. They just assumed. Because in their minds, help had turned into habit. Support became expected, and I had become invisible. But when your presence is forgotten, your absence hits like thunder. In the beginning, they said thank you. Ashley would call me after every deposit. "Dad, I don't know what we'd do without you." She'd cry. I'd smile. It felt like I was needed, valued. Even Tyler used to shake my hand. Said I was the backbone of this family. He called me Pops. Said I reminded him of his late grandfather. It felt good at first, but then the calls stopped. The gratitude faded. Instead of thank you, I heard things like, "You wouldn't want us to miss a payment, right?" Or "It's your granddaughter's future, we can't risk that." Or worse, "Well, it's not like you're spending the money anyway." That one cut deeper than they knew. They stopped asking. They started expecting. Birthdays came and went, no card, no visit. Father's Day, not even a text. I became the background. The invisible ATM, always there, never seen. One Christmas, I gave Josh a baseball glove. His face lit up pure joy. Tyler looked at the price tag and said, "Could have been nicer, don't you think?" That night, I didn't sleep. Not because of the glove, but because I finally realized they didn't love me. They loved what I gave them. And someday they'd learn what it felt like when that giving stopped. Tyler stopped showing up to help. He used to mow the lawn on weekends, fix a leaky faucet, help carry groceries from my truck. Now, he'd roll up just in time for dinner, wearing cologne that cost more than my monthly meds, toss his keys on my counter, feet on my coffee table. He never knocked, he never asked, he just arrived. And somehow my house became their second kitchen, their playroom, their free childcare center. They'd bring friends over, loud, flashy people. One of them once said, "Wow, this old place has character, like antique poor." They all laughed, even Tyler, even Ashley. I laughed too, quietly, out of habit, out of pain. I started noticing things. My bourbon bottle half gone, my recliner always taken, my garage filled with their junk boxes of clothes, gym equipment, old TVs. They had space at home, but they preferred mine, because here they paid nothing, did nothing, respected nothing. Once, I asked Tyler to help me move a broken shelf. He said, "Man, my back's not what it used to be," then walked out with a six-pack I bought. That night I sat in the garage, alone, next to my own lawnmower, covered in dust. And for the first time in years, I asked myself, what would happen if I just stopped? One evening, I pulled Ashley aside, just her and me. The kids were watching cartoons. Tyler was on my porch bragging into his phone about closing a six-figure deal. I looked her in the eye and said, "Ash, this can't go on. I'm tired. I'm not made of money." She paused, didn't blink, didn't nod. Then she said, "Dad, Tyler's just stressed. He's doing the best he can." I said, "He hasn't paid a single bill in 5 years." She replied, "Well, maybe if you believed in him more, he wouldn't feel so pressured." That sentence hit me harder than I expected. I reminded her of Martha's last words, "Don't let Ashley fall." She looked down, then looked away. "I didn't fall, Dad. You're the one who keeps expecting us to be grateful all the time. Maybe it's not about the money. Maybe it's about control." Control. That word echoed in my ears like a slap. All I ever did was keep the promise I made beside her mother's deathbed. And now, I was being called manipulative by my own daughter. I didn't say another word, just nodded and walked back to the kitchen. She didn't follow. She didn't say sorry. She just let the silence sit between us, as heavy as everything I had carried for them. Alone. It was Ellie's birthday. Balloons, a rented bounce house, catering from a trendy taco truck, all in my backyard. Ashley said it was just easier than booking a park. I nodded, like I always do. Friends came, neighbors, parents from school, and there was Tyler center stage. He wore a crisp white polo, designer watch, sunglasses he never took off. He gave a toast. "Here's to Ellie, our bright star, and to my beautiful wife Ashley, who makes all this possible." All this, the tacos, the decorations, the tuition for that private school every parent here keeps asking about. I paid for it, all of it, but no one knew, because Tyler made sure of that. He smiled like a politician, shook hands, told stories about running multiple ventures and diversifying income streams. One man asked, "What do you do exactly, Tyler?" He laughed, "Enough to let my family live well. Let's just say I've made the right connections." He winked, right at me, as if to say, "Stay quiet, old man." And I did. I stood near the fence holding a lemonade I didn't ask for, watching my granddaughter open a dollhouse I bought. She shouted, "Thanks, Daddy." Everyone clapped. No one looked at me. That night, after the guests left, I sat in the dark and whispered, "You're welcome." But no one heard. For years, giving made me feel useful, important, part of something. Each transfer, each silent bill paid was my way of saying, "I'm still here. I still matter." But lately, it didn't feel like love, it felt like a leash. There was a moment, a quiet Tuesday. I walked into my kitchen and found Tyler eating the last slice of pie. Martha's recipe. He didn't ask. He didn't look up. He just said, "You should bake more of these." Ellie loves them. I stood there, not angry, not even sad, just tired. Later that night I went through the mail. One letter stood out, a brochure for a retirement cruise. Mediterranean coast. Tuscany, Barcelona. I held it in my hands longer than I should have. And for the first time in years I asked myself a question I'd never dared voice. What if I used my money for me? The thought felt selfish, but also freeing. Then came the guilt, the ghost of Martha's voice in my head, Ashley's face as a little girl, Ellie's laugh echoing down the hall. But that guilt wasn't enough to drown the growing truth. They didn't see me anymore, just the benefits of me. And the man they once needed was now just a wallet with a heartbeat. It was just supposed to be dinner. Ashley made spaghetti. Josh spilled grape juice. Ellie told a joke she made up herself. For a moment it felt normal, almost happy. Then Tyler opened a bottle of wine, the expensive kind, from my collection. He poured himself a glass, lifted it like a toast, and said, "Here's to making it without handouts, to real men who earn their place." Everyone paused. Ashley smiled nervously. I said nothing. He kept going. "You know, Pops, you're lucky to have front row seats to what success looks like. But you never thought your little girl would marry up." I looked at Ashley. She didn't stop him. She didn't say a word. He leaned back in my chair, the one I always sat in. Then he laughed, loud, sharp, and said, "How does it feel to be a loser?" The room fell silent. Even the kids stopped chewing. I looked at him, at Ashley, at the table I paid for, in the house I kept standing. I smiled, a small, steady, almost peaceful smile. Then I stood up, picked up my plate, and said 4 words. "You'll find out soon." Then I walked out. No shouting, no drama. But something had shifted, and they had no idea what was coming. The next morning I woke up at 5 a.m., made coffee. Black, no sugar. I walked into my study, shut the door, and pulled out 3 dusty folders from the bottom drawer. Blue, red, green, mortgage, education, extras. I opened the blue one first. Mortgage payments, all 180 of them. $3, $200 each. Some months I paid double when Tyler lost his clients. Next came the red, Ellie's private school, Josh's speech therapy, laptop, uniforms, summer camps. Each receipt I laid on the desk, one by one. Like cards in a game of poker, only I knew how to win. Then the green, car lease, appliances, Disney vacations, medical bills, Tyler's networking retreat in Scottsdale. I added it all up, line by line. 15 years of invisible support. Total, $976, 200.84. That number stared back at me not with pride, but with clarity. I didn't feel bitter. I didn't feel regret. I felt clean, like someone who finally saw the wound he kept covering. I printed the spreadsheet, labeled it Unspoken Contributions, and placed it in a sealed envelope. Then I slid it into my briefcase. Next to it, a flash drive, backup copy. And just like that, for the first time in 15 years, I wasn't giving anymore. I was preparing. The next day, I dressed like it was any other Tuesday. Plaid shirt, jeans, brown boots Martha bought me years ago. I drove to the bank. Not theirs, mine. "Mr. Bennett, how can we help you today? I'd like to cancel 5 recurring payments." The teller looked confused. "May I ask why?" I smiled. "No longer required. Mortgage gone, auto lease canceled, school fees terminated, credit card I co-signed closed, limit frozen. Every connection between my money and their comfort severed. Clean, legal, final. I changed the locks on the garage, shut off their key fob, moved my bourbon to a locked cabinet, turned off the automatic grocery account. Tyler's gym membership bounced. Their phone plan disconnected. They wouldn't feel it all at once, but day by day the air would thin. No more invisible parachutes, no more quiet bailouts. Then I emailed Ashley. Subject: financial status. Update attachment PDF titled Unspoken Contributions Message. Ashley, please review the attached file. All further support has ceased effective immediately. Love, Dad. No threats, no explanations, just the truth. And truth when served cold tastes a lot like consequence. It took exactly 3 days. On the 4th, my phone rang. Ashley. Twice, then 3 times, then a voicemail. "Dad, what's going on?" "The mortgage didn't go through." Tyler's furious. "Please call me." I didn't. By Friday, Tyler showed up at my door. Didn't knock, didn't smile. Just barged in. "Are you out of your damn mind?" he barked. I had to cancel a business lunch because my card got declined. I poured coffee, sat down, said nothing. "You can't just pull the plug like this. We have bills. We have kids. What do you expect us to do?" I sipped, still silent. Ashley called from the car. I could hear her crying through the window. Josh and Ellie in the back, confused, scared. He kept yelling, "You ungrateful old man. You wouldn't have anything if it weren't for Martha's pity. You think this makes you powerful. You're pathetic." That's when I stood up, walked to the cabinet, pulled out the envelope, laid it on the table, pointed at the title, $976, 200.84. A Quiet Life. I looked at Tyler, calm, steady, then said, "You were never grateful. Now you'll learn what it means to be desperate." He didn't laugh this time. Ashley didn't speak. And I finally felt free. The next morning, I called my attorney. "Henry," I said, "it's time to update my will." We met that afternoon. Leather chairs, thick carpet, the kind of office where final decisions are made. I slid the folder across the desk. He scanned the title. $976, 200.84. A Quiet Life. He looked up, nodded once, didn't ask why. He already knew. "I want Ashley and Tyler removed," I said. "No inheritance, no trust, nothing. Everything he asked. All of it," I replied, "goes into a fund. College tuition for Ellie and Josh, managed by a third party. They get full access only if they graduate. And the house," I smiled. "Put it in the fund, too. They can live in it if they maintain it. If not, it's sold. And the proceeds stay with the grandkids." Henry paused. "That's fair," he said. "No," I corrected him. "It's justice." Before I left, I signed every page, initialed every line, stamped the future with clarity. No malice, no revenge, just correction. And as I walked out of that office, briefcase in hand, for the first time in decades, I wasn't holding on to anyone anymore. I was holding space for peace, and for those 2 little hearts who still saw me as something more than a wallet. A week later, the house was quiet. No kids running, no Tyler shouting on speakerphone, no Ashley pacing the kitchen. Just me and the soft hum of the old refrigerator. I set the table. 1 plate, 1 fork, spaghetti, simple. My recipe. I sat down at the head of my chair, the one Tyler used to claim, and I ate, slow, without rush, without noise. and for the first time, without pressure. That night, I took down every photo of Ashley and Tyler, left the ones of the kids, and of Martha. I packed a small suitcase, passport, a new pair of walking shoes, and a brochure. Barcelona, Venice, Santorini. I smiled. Martha would have loved this. Before I left, I placed one final envelope on the kitchen table. No drama, no explanation. Just a note. You taught me what it feels like to be forgotten. So now I'm teaching you what it feels like to be left behind. Dad. Then I walked out, locked the door, tossed the key in the garden. And as the morning sun warmed my face, I felt nothing but peace. No anger, no hate, just the silence of a man who finally chose himself. Sometimes the loudest scream is silence. Richard didn't slam doors. He didn't curse or cry or beg to be seen. He just stopped. Stopped giving. Stopped explaining. Stopped waiting for a thank you that would never come. For 15 years, he gave without question because that's what love does. But even love needs air. When it suffocates in entitlement, it dies quietly, and no one notices until the lights go out. Ashley lost more than her inheritance. She lost the version of her father who once believed she would never forget. Tyler lost the illusion of control, of power, of consequence-free comfort. And Richard, he didn't lose anything. He found something he forgot he was allowed to claim: his life. The house is quieter now, but peace echoes louder than any applause he never got. A child's voice still lives in that hallway. A wife's memory still sits by the window. And somewhere buried in the garden lies a key to a version of himself he no longer needs. Sometimes the greatest act of love is learning when to stop. Maybe you're watching this thinking, I would have left long ago. Or maybe you see yourself in Richard. Maybe you've been giving quietly, hoping someone would finally notice. Or maybe you've been Tyler, taking, assuming, never thinking the well would run dry. What does your silence sound like? Is it quiet resentment? A dinner with no words? A bank transfer made with love and forgotten in seconds? Let's talk about it. Tell us in the comments which moment hit you hardest. And who do you think was truly at fault? Was Richard too passive? Was Ashley blinded by comfort? Or was Tyler always beyond saving? If this story stayed with you, you won't want to miss what's coming next. There's another man, another betrayal and a revenge so calculated, it took 10 years to unfold. Subscribe. Stay with us. The next story might feel even closer than you think. Because in the end, every family has a Richard. And sometimes the hero isn't the one who forgives. It's the one who finally lets go.